and then when I tell you, okay, hold
¿Es este botón?
on. Yeah. But first, let's say something. All right. Hold up, I got stuff here.
Las fotos.
We'll do that again.
3, 2, 1. All right.
Welcome to S2EP4. This is Pierre, your host, and today I'm here with
Roy.
Roy, or as most of us that went to Valley would recognize him as Mr.Roy.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's me.
Mr.Roy has an incredible resume. He has been a teacher for how long now?
I was just finished on my 5th year.
Finishing his 5th year. He's also been in the MMA world. You used to fight. And I think, what was your nickname?
I was the pretty boy Roy back in the day. That was like 100 pounds ago. And
Man.
goodness gracious, probably 10 years ago.
So you used to fight at what weight range?
Middleweight. I was 185.
185.
185.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, because I'm pretty tall, so it was like I was a little skinny.
You had a good cut. You had like the Alex Ferreira type of cut.
Yeah.
And then you are also now studying for something else, right?
Yeah, so like right now I'm getting my bachelor's degree in marketing. So
Marketing.
Yeah.
Geez, are you trying to further your education with it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna finish up my marketing degree here in probably a couple months because it's like a self-paced thing. I'm going to Western Governors University, which is like an online school, and so I get to finish like as fast as I want to, which is nice. So once I finish that, me and my fiance are moving to Indianapolis here in like the next couple of weeks actually, and I want to go to the University of Indianapolis to get my master's in sports management. So.
Masters in sports management.
Yeah,
So
that's the goal.
what are you planning on doing with that?
No, so I've always been a sports fan, as you know, because whenever you were a freshman and I was your teacher, we talked about NBA all the time. But I've always been an NBA fan. Going back to Indianapolis, they have the Pacers, the Fever, also
The Colts.
Colts, because football, my biological father was in the NFL. So yeah, so I've always been a fan of the Colts. I've always been a fan of like football and stuff like that. So just working my way up through those organizations, or getting into the management side of like combat sports, MMA and boxing, and maybe jiu-jitsu, things like that.
So you were trying to represent him as a sports manager, right?
Yeah, because I have a lot of friends that are still in mixed martial arts.
Wow.
And, as you see all the time, some fighters get paid horrifically, some get paid super well, but after they retire, it sort of seems like, where did all the money go? Helping them make smart investments, things of that nature. That's what I really want to
Something
do.
you can help with.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
So what is your sole purpose? Like, what made you get into that? Obviously, you were a part of the MMA world. but
Yeah.
Was there something that drove, like, man, we need to change something in this?
I think it was when I first moved out here. I was 21 years old, so about 7 years ago, and I trained at the MMA lab over there in Glendale, which was awesome. I met some of my favorite people in the world, some of my best friends. But I got there, and I remember being so excited I was going to train alongside UFC, Bellator, those type of fighters, and I saw some, I won't name names, but I saw some people that I saw fighting for the UFC that would leave practice and go to like their second job. And I'm like, how do you fight on like the number one promotion in the world and then have to go supplement your income with like a second job? And from there, I realized like, oh snap, it's not like all the Conor McGregors, John Jones, Anderson Silvas that you see. Like there's still just the lower tiered fighters that are making 8,000 and 8,000, but after like taxes, percentages going to management, going to gyms, leave 5,000-6,000 at the end of the day. And if they're only fighting 3 times a year, 2 times a year, if they're lucky, they're coming along with like 15 to 20,000, and that's below poverty line.
Yeah,
So,
especially when that's the thing that you put on. They tend to work more than 40 hours a week. If you really put it
No,
in
most
time.
definitely. I think that the biggest thing that I think is holding back a lot of MMA fighters is like there's no union. So like there's like the Ali Act and things like that. That's like a whole different conversation. But I think that the biggest news right now is like Francis Ngannou signing with Professional Fighters League. And then when a lot of people look at it, they see it from like the perspective of, oh, the UFC was going to make you, the highest paid athlete outside of McGregor. You're going to have a big, huge contract. But then on Francis's end, he wanted a bigger say in what his opponents were getting, and he wanted like a bigger chunk of the pie, which I think is tremendous. I think at the end of the day, he's setting himself up for success after fighting. So I think that's the number one thing that I take from that is like making smart business moves, smart business decisions, and ensuring that like you and your family are set for after fighting.
Yeah,
because that's the biggest thing,
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money, and he's gonna see himself as like the head of PFL Africa, and then he'll be on the board of like directives for Professional Fighters League. So, I think that's tremendous for the sport. I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes to the type of money that you can make, the type of pull that you can have once your brand gets to be a certain stature. So, but yeah.
It's crazy to think about it because a month ago we were actually clowning him, basically like, dude, you lost it, you fumbled back. I don't know how he managed to get it. Actually, I thought he wasn't gonna get anything.
Yeah, I knew that once his conversations with the UFC fell through, I knew that there was like 2 spots that he could land. PFL, if because they're on ESPN Plus, they have a lot of celebrity backing. If you watch the PFL, like you'll see Ray Lewis always there. You'll see all these celebrities going to their spots, and they have a really cool system. I like their season implementation where they have like 3 or 2 regular season, and they got the playoffs and they got the championships.
$1 million.
$1 million, which is nice. So I knew that it would either be PFL or Bellator. Then Bellator folded, and I was like, okay. ONE FC's there, which is big in Asia, but I was like, PFL might have a chance, and then they did it. And, the big thing that everybody talks about is, was he ducking John Jones? And I don't think he was, even though for me, John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. I think that Francis made a move that changed the game of MMA, and showed people like that there are other spots to land besides just the UFC. Because whenever I was starting out in 2014, the biggest thing that we were doing, like we wanted to be UFC fighters. That was you see yourself going through the amateur ranks, becoming pro, and then getting that management that brings you to the UFC, and and that's like the biggest thing. Like as an aspiring MMA fighter, you want to make it to the big show. But I think that in the landscape right now of MMA, you have the UFC, ONE FC, Bellator, PFL, and then you have like all of like your other smaller. Bare Knuckle is wild. That's even booming right now, which is crazy.
And then the slap fighting,
slap fighting's like I was talking to my grandpa, and my grandpa is 74 years old, and he grew up with boxing and everything like that. Loves Muhammad Ali. Just grew up watching the greatest fighters of all time, and he calls me up one night. He's like, "This slap boxing, this slap fighting, I can't stand it. It's like a carnival act." And man, if you haven't seen slap fighting, it's wild.
It's horrible. I'm sorry, but I don't.
These guys just stand there with their hands behind their back.
How do you gonna let someone just slap you?
And then they get knocked out. And like, have you seen the pay for that?
They don't even get paid that much,
it's like
right?
$1,000 or $2,000. It's wild.
To get knocked out, it's crazy.
Yeah, to get CTE and all that crazy stuff.
Because their face swollen and everything.
Oh yeah, it's like bleeding and stuff.
Just like, dude. Is it really that bad? Only 2,000?
Yeah.
It was like $5K.
No, I saw that it was like 2,000, and then how the UFC does like performance of the night. They give them like 10K instead of 50K.
I never understood. I didn't want to ask. So when the performance of the night happens, let's say, let's look back at Jorge Masvidal without the knee.
Yeah.
Ben Askren. That was the performance of the night.
Yeah.
So does the guy that get knocked out? He gets a
No. So how it's based is like they usually back in the day there was like the knockout of the night, submission of the night, and fight of the night. But then they were like, well, if there's not a knockout, so we'll just call it performance of the night. So now performance of the night, let's just say Jorge versus Ben. Jorge got the 50K. Ben Askren didn't get nothing. But then if you got like fight of the night, let's say
what's that guy that's new? He's like training. He's like he does at 170. He's like new. He's like his flag of his country is like blue teal, I think.
Oh man.
It's like Asian.
Oh, Shah Rock.
Okay, him with the other guy.
Jeff Neal.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was fight of the night. So if you get fight of the night, the winner and loser get 50K.
Oh, nice.
So if you're But then there's some people that are like in those fight of the nights, and then they get a knockout, and they get a performance and a so they get 100K. Yeah. So, but then at the end of the day, you still gotta pay like taxes on it. It's like it's crazy.
When you're lower level like that, you think about that's a lot of money.
If you're making like the 10 and 10, like 10 to win, 10 to show, and you get that 50K. I mean, that's life changing money for a lot of people. Yeah, most definitely.
It's just crazy to think about. Sometimes I remember I'd seen something about Islam when he fought 280 with Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that he spent $1 million on his training camp.
Yeah, on his camp.
And I was just like, dude, could you imagine if anybody on the lower levels be able to perform stuff?
Yeah, I think that a lot of
people are helpless.
Yeah, I think that with camps and stuff, the reason why like the MMA lab's so good here is that they have everybody there. But like Islam and things like that, they train at AKA over in San Jose, and then they train at like, they train in Dagestan with like Khabib and everybody. So they're like traveling, bringing people in. So then you got to pay your coaches. You know, you're paying your coaches 10%. You're paying your manager 10%. You're paying your sparring partners maybe a flat rate of okay, for this camp you'll be with me for 8 weeks. I'll give you $5K. You know, so then if he has 5 sparring partners, he's paying $25,000 for that. So, you know, it all adds up. Plus nutritionists and things like that. So,
even then, still, he probably gets what, $1 million?
Yeah.
Almost a champ. Yeah.
I think that like the big thing with champs, because I watch a lot of podcasts like Aljamain Sterling and those guys, and the big thing with like the champs is like they get the bigger salary, the bigger purses, but they get the pay-per-view points. So it's like per pay-per-view they get like 10 cents per pay-per-view sold. Really? So like if you're selling like
$1 million,
you know, you're sitting there.
100K?
Yeah, you're sitting there with like 100K, or maybe they get like $1 a pay-per-view. You know, so it's like, so if you sell 1 million pay-per-views, like if you're Conor probably gets $5 per pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So and he's selling 1.5, 2 million pay-per-views. So I think that that's the biggest point, that like where you start to see like the generational wealth for these guys is once they get those pay-per-view points and things like that. Especially if they invest their money wisely and make smart decisions, smart purchases. I think that's the number one thing.
Yeah, it's very smart business, like you say. I did see this is out of the UFC. It's about the NBA. I did see something about Jason Tatum saying that he has not spent $1 out of his salary.
It's all like sponsors.
It's all sponsors.
Yeah.
He's saving up his salary, and it's crazy because he's about to sign a $300 million for 5 years.
Yeah.
So could you imagine being retired and still making those $300 million?
Yeah, that would be. I mean, another person that did it was Rob Gronkowski for the Patriots.
Really?
That dude still hasn't touched any of his salary from the NBA because he has his sponsors with like. I think it was like Toyo tires and stuff like that. And just and just stuff that like they actually see on YouTube ads and stuff that they probably signed a little contract for $1 million. That's where they spend their money. So I think it's all about smart investments and smart financial decisions. That's the number one thing. And I think a lot of MMA fighters, especially back in the day, like a lot of them weren't college graduates. Now you'll see a lot more college graduates that are wrestlers, like D1 wrestlers coming in that have graduated and things like that. But a lot of them don't have that like financial literacy that like a lot of them need. Because like, shoot, I could tell you if I was 22, 23, like some of these kids making, $20,000 plus another $50,000. I had $70K in the bank. First thing I'm doing, I'm buying a Rollie, buying all that stuff. And I'm not investing. I'm not putting things in like I'm not putting stocks and bonds, things like that. But now and that's part of the reason why I want to get into like combat sports management is to like help guide them, make smart financial decisions and just help them with their careers.
It's hard. People don't realize. And the thing about sports is such an acute career.
Yeah.
It's just not more than 20. You're lucky if you make it past 20 years.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's like LeBron, you got Tom Brady. So
yeah.
The average amount of years in every sport is probably like 7 to 5.
Yeah, probably. Especially like with the NFL. That's why you don't see a lot of running backs going like first round.
You get to there like 24, 23.
They said, I heard a statistic that said that a running back's career in the NFL is like 3.7 years, which is crazy if you think about it.
go to school more than you play.
Yeah, so it's like, but what's good about college sports now and why they can spend more time is that NIL, which is a whole different ballgame.
You get money, right?
Yeah, you can get money now in college.
So Bronny is like the highest.
Yeah, Bronny's the highest NIL, and then like, the one LSU center, what's her name for the just won the national title.
She's
Yeah,
like
she-
5 point nothing, and that's good to see.
It's good to
women
see
getting
them
money as well.
100%. I think that women's athletics is something that's been undervalued for a long time.
Correct. I'm trying to go to a WNBA game. That's
Hey,
right.
go see the
The Mercury, right?
The Mercury. Yeah,
Really?
Indiana has a fever, so
Really?
I'm gonna have to go to a fever game.
I don't have to go to that. They're fun.
They got to be in Boston, so the number one
They
girl
do?
from South Carolina. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
So
so
they got the first pick, right?
yep, they did.
Dang.
They picked Leah Boston, which is nice. She made her first WNBA 3 like last night. I think.
I think the Aces are gonna take this year though.
Oh yeah, the
They
Aces
definitely will, huh?
or the Liberty.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're
really
good.
But the Mercury are always underrated.
Yeah, especially
their
we
leaders.
got Brittany Griner back. So
It's over. Everybody knows. Now going back to school situations, I do want to know your first year of school compared to now. What's something that you learned from
teaching.
teaching?
Oh man, first time ever teaching, I had you in
Correct.
like your crazy class, which they were good. They were good. The kids that I taught first at Valley were awesome. Love seeing them just grow and become great things, just like you're doing. So the main thing that like I've learned over the years of teaching is that relationships matter the most. So like developing good relationships with your students. You'll see a lot of teachers that really just they teach, and they go home. They don't have kids coming in for lunch. They don't go out and like spend time with the kids and develop that good core relationship, because a lot of teachers will have this mentality of, oh, because I'm a teacher, because I'm paid a salary, because I'm the head of this classroom, you gotta respect me.
Correct.
And so, which isn't wrong, it's not, but I think that the most important thing is like relationships and respect. You gotta respect the kids and they'll respect you back, and you gotta develop good, solid relationships, because if you do, then these kids will run through a brick wall for you. But if you don't, then they'll throw you into a brick wall. So I think that if I was to give anybody any advice, it's like going into teaching, I would say develop good relationships with your students, have empathy, and just show them who you are. Don't be a shell of yourself. Give them your true, authentic self, and they'll love you forever.
That's amazing if you really think about it. 'Cause like you said, some teachers actually just come and teach, which there's primary factors such as school,
Yeah.
being an ass, underpaid, of course.
Yeah.
And third of all, students probably not listening even if you try, which is understandable. I mean, not everyone has not everyone has the ability to make their students, get there. Because you can yell as much as you want, but some of the students won't even hear you.
Yeah,
You gotta have that touch of being able to communicate and connect with your students.
100%. I think that with the new age of teacher coming in and like the old school being pushed out, like retiring and stuff like that, I think that it's going to be a lot easier for these students to connect with their teachers because they're younger. I think that's what gave me an advantage with you guys. Is like I listened to the same music that you guys listen to. I watched the same shows and did all that stuff, and I had social media, and TikTok wasn't around back in the day, but whenever I had you, but just knowing what it's like to be your age. And
because you were just 24. You were in a class full of 18s.
Yeah, I was 23 or 24 whenever I first got you, so I was only like 5-6 years older than you guys.
So like me being 19, some of our class was 19. Like I have friends that are 24.
Yeah.
So it's easily the same thing.
Yeah.
Obviously not the same amount of what's it called literacy between each other,
Yeah.
but it still is close to the same.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Is just understanding the kids. Like it's a crazy world out there. It's wild. It's so wild.
One thing I do want to learn is the rules of the teachers and professors. There's always that teacher that has his own rule for his classroom. So what is yours?
Like the one rule that I have is like just my biggest pet peeve is bullying. I hate bullying. So like that's my one thing that like gets on my nerves. Like if a kid's in my class and like they're bullying another kid, like I'll pull them aside, just check them. Just that's not gonna fly here. And then if it continues happening, working with the right people, administration, guidance counselors, coming up with solutions so that he or she can stay in the class, or we can find another placement for them.
That's something I like about the new generation is that we learn how to deal with bullying, as a professor and as a person. I think old school's more of a, if it's not going to work out, you're going to have to be expelled.
Yeah.
But here we guide them through counsel, we make sure they're fine, everything okay at the house, Because I never really understood family. I feel like it's more of a situation. Wise. I never had to go through bullying, and I never had to bully anybody. So I feel like it's when people go through stuff, they tend to find it as a coping, right?
Yeah, like a coping mechanism. Like a lot of people it's the like one of the oldest sayings in the book. Like people that bully have something inside of them that's like, that brings that out of them. They have an insecurity within them that's causing them to act this way.
Yeah, and you're good at helping them, so that's something to props.
Yeah.
Other thing I want to do as a teacher, there's always that one thing that interests you as a subject. What other subject would you be down to teach?
Man, I would say, because I've taught culinary arts for a long time, if I was to teach any other subject, like core subject, I'd probably say social studies.
Social studies.
Just because like history is just really interesting to me. And it was like one of my only good classes in high school. So,
Social studies is nice. I like social studies. Matter of fact, I remember I had to take APUs, A-Push.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about the history of the United States, but I was like, I gotta learn this. It's pretty amazing. It's like things that you learn, things that you try hiding, and there's things that they try showing.
100%.
Which is cool to see. Dang. So as a social study, would you do like pre-K, not like elementary or?
I would do like high school. I like high school, man. Like I just taught middle school for the first time, and I loved it. The kids were very receptive. Which is really cool. Like high school, you'll see like the kids are like, I just gotta get this credit, just
right,
push through
like,
the class, which is cool. It's totally cool. But like middle school, the kids are more energetic. You gotta keep them busy the whole time. Like high school, I could say, okay, we're gonna do this, and then you can just like chill on your phone, type deal. Like, you guys would sit in your desk and just like mess around. But like with middle school, you just gotta keep them moving. So like the days feel a little longer.
You're like,
you're a little bit more tired at the end of the day. Middle school, you have like parents are more
strict
in the picture. Once they get to high school, parents are like, okay, you got 4 years, let's get this done. But like middle school, they're still like the little babies.
Right, they want to make sure they're the right path, which is understandable as a teacher.
Yeah, you got some helicopter parents, which is annoying, but we made it through. So
which is good. So when did you learn, or when did you understood that? Okay, kids are just coming here to get their credit and not to really study it.
I think that when I first understood that, it wasn't with like you guys. It was probably probably the third high school that I taught at. I had this one varsity athlete. He was a senior, and he would come in and just sit in the back and not do anything. I'd be like, okay, whatever. So one day I just pull him aside and I'm like, yo, what's going on? He tells me, I just need the CTE credit. I just need this credit to graduate. I'm like, okay. So I had that good relationship built with him, and I was just like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a packet. You fill it out as fast as you want. You knock out the quizzes and tests, and I'll pass you. And if you want to do labs, that's totally up to you. If you don't want to do labs and you just want to sit on your phone and relax, chill. Just get this packet knocked out, get these quizzes and tests done. So I think that was probably the first time where I realized like a lot of these kids they just really want to get that credit. A lot of them don't want to be chefs for the rest of their lives. They want to learn how to make ramen a little better and then not burn down their parents' house. So, but yeah, that's like the first time that I really noticed like, okay, some kids are just here for that credit. So I'm not gonna like dog them for not participating. I'm gonna make it easier on them to get that credit, get through the semester, and roll out. Yeah,
No, yeah, because I do remember you were very passionate about on our first class, which is understandable. First of all, because our class was horrible.
Your class was wild.
Yeah, it was wild. That's the right answer.
It was.
Second of all, it was your first impression, correct, in school. So you got to make sure that they know you are the one, correct?
Yeah.
And then third of all, like you said, you had not been prepared for that mindset of the people. Like,
no.
You were putting us there to make us be chefs, which is what is a teacher's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as you get older, the teachers start realizing, dang, as students, like, man, like, maybe they don't really want to do this.
Yeah, and I think that it was just a shock for me because I never went to school to be a teacher. Never. Like, I went to culinary arts school right after I stopped fighting, and I met my fiance, and I met her maybe like a week into culinary arts school.
Really?
Yeah, I met her. We met online, and I was like, she was awesome. And so met her. She was a teacher. I finished up culinary arts school, started working as a chef at the Biltmore, and I really liked my fiance. I was like, oh, she's really awesome. But I was like working these crazy hours, like 14, 16-hour shifts. And I'm like, I would get back to her apartment, and she was like sleeping, and then like, we never had time to like be with one another. I remember she was like, yo, like, I don't know if I can do like this type of relationship where I never see you type deal. And I was like, and I basically just told her like, well, what am I supposed to do? What can I do? Like, cause I felt like I went to culinary arts school, all that I can do is either be a chef, a baker, or like manage a restaurant. And she told me, she was like, you could be a culinary arts teacher. And I was like,
teacher?
No, like I don't want to do that, I don't want to be a teacher. I didn't really care for high school except for a couple teachers that were really awesome. And I was like, I just got out of culinary school. Why don't I want to go deal with kids? And she was like, well, they're hiring it in Surprise. And I'm like, where the heck is Surprise? Like I just moved to Arizona. Like I've been here for probably a year. And like I lived in Glendale, but I never like went up this way.
There, yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's like 40 minutes from here. Okay, like I have my 07 Pontiac Vibe that could like get me to Surprise and back without breaking down. And I was like, if you fill out the like the interview questionnaire and things like that, and I had my resume and stuff. I was like, if you put that together and you put it in, if you throw my name in the hat and they call me back and want to interview me, I'll go for an interview. Just to make her happy. I didn't think that I was going to get called in. And a couple, maybe even a month went by because they were waiting for the semester to end so that they could let this one lady go who was like some mom.
Miss Folk, yeah.
Some mom from like another kid. And so then they called me in for an interview, and I had just gotten my wisdom teeth taken out, like maybe 4 days prior to my interview. So I go up there, I'm still swollen in my face. I sit down, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Like before I went, me and Sarah basically like she put me through like a mock interview. These are what they're gonna ask you, and I'm like, I don't know anything. I literally just know how to cook. That's it. I know how to cook and be a good person. And so go in there, and then I do the interview, leave. I'm like, okay, I try my best. I can't really do anything else but try my best. I leave. I'm driving back towards Phoenix. I'm on the phone with my mom, and I get this phone call from Surprise, Arizona. I'm like, okay, let me answer it. And it's Miss Paracini, and she's like, hey, we want to offer you the job. And I was like, okay. And at this point, I didn't have my teaching certification. I didn't have anything, nothing. And she was like, you'll start like February 1st or something along. I think it was February 1st that I started. And so that's like a month and some change from like that point. And I was like, okay, well, I can get my certification. I had to go through all these
classes
hoops
and videos, right?
Like, dude, it was like I had to have over 4,500 hours of culinary experience for them to like approve me for like a temporary CTE certification that would last for like 3 years, and then I had to get like a bunch more of these credits and stuff like that. So got that done. I was like calling everybody like, hey, can you sign off on this for me? I'm gonna fax it over to you. And it was just a bunch of loopholes to jump through, but got that done. And I remember my first day heading in there, I was like,
were you nervous?
Dude, I was like, I was so scared. And I remember I was wearing a burgundy like long sleeve shirt
it
and
was
some like
pink, right?
I used to rock the pink a lot, but no, this one was burgundy. I still think I have the photo somewhere on my hard drive.
Burgundy, black pants?
Yeah.
I remember that.
And I remember I went in and they were like, "Hey, your first day you're giving a test." And I was like, really? Like, I can't do anything fun. So I go in there, I give you guys this test, and you're like, "Man, y'all didn't she didn't teach us none of this." And I'm like, it's just what they told me to do. And so I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, I don't know, these kids are gonna hate me.
I know you were nervous, but you had a bitch face. You were just like,
I was like, all right, here we go. And dude, I remember that day, school ended, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I might have to get another teacher. And I went back home, drove down to downtown Phoenix, where me and Sarah were living at the time. We went to this pizzeria called Chibo, and it's right around the corner from our studio apartment. And we were sitting outside, and I started falling asleep. I was so tired. And she's like, long day? And I was like, oh yeah. So I remember that second day, I was like, I'm just gonna go in there, I'm just gonna rock and roll with this. Like, I'm just gonna have fun with the kids, play music, just like enjoy the time with them, build good relationships, and we'll see where this goes. And that's just how I took the rest of the year. And I was just like, let's just have fun and do what we can while we have the time, and teach you guys a little bit, and spend all the money Valley Vista had on food. So,
right.
you know, we had some fun. But
we had a good plate. I mean, before you came, we had a different. Our preceding teacher didn't really give us a food. It was just little things, and pastries. But with you, we actually made food.
Yeah, we did. It was a lot of fun.
Man.
I think it was Valley Vista was fun, and I will never. Their facilities over there were so spectacular. Like, I loved their culinary lab. Like, it was split off into the two sections.
Yeah.
And it was like,
you had your study place. It was great. I didn't know we had that until, went in there.
I remember you made me Peruvian food.
Yeah.
And brought it to me.
Yeah, my mom made it.
Yeah, your mom made it.
It was great.
And then you brought it to me, and I was like, holy smokes, it's really good.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
What was it? Was it rice?
Or was it was like rice with something on it.
Okay, it was chifa. I don't know if it was fried rice or it was rice with the chicken. But was it green rice?
I don't know. I've eaten a lot of rice over the years. But no, you're like one of the only kids that I would eat food from.
You're like, okay,
this kid, his mom made it. Like I'll have like these other kids like over the years. I made something for you. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And then when they're not looking, I'm like, oh, it was good. And like,
just throw it in there.
Yeah, but yeah, it was
like one legit chef,
Yeah, she's good. It was good.
I know. I appreciate you. Because this is good food. It's good food. What's it called? I think my mom would have made some beach week, let you have some food. I remember we had a lab in your class. I think we had to make it was an egg. We had to make different types of egg. You had to scramble
the 6 different types of eggs. You had to scramble it and omelet.
My English comprehension was not as well.
Yeah,
it was horrible. And I think I was with this girl Mackenzie and Dominic and all of them, and they were like, "Okay, you gotta wait until the pan is like bubbly." Was it?
I think it was. Was it like the steamed egg or whatever it was?
Yeah. And they were like, "Okay, you gotta make sure it's wait until it's hot and everything." I didn't know. I just you popped in and they were like, I was like.
I remember the egg lab. I've done the egg lab so many times.
I like it.
It was cool. The egg lab.
We were your first experience.
You were, and you guys were. I will say that, like the classes at Valley got me so prepared for dealing with everything else that I would deal with in my teaching career.
Especially with us being the hardest one.
Yeah, it was like y'all were a hard class, but it was like you're a class that like I can deal with, and you're a class that taught me like different ways of maneuvering.
I mean, if you weren't like 6'3", 200 pounds, something, I'm pretty sure we would have taken you out the class.
You probably would.
But you definitely, put yourself
good.
up there.
Y'all were good though.
You make sure we didn't do nothing bad. I remember.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But I'm telling you, Valley Vista, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good spot. I remember some kid cut his finger off.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Do you remember that? Some kid cut his finger almost off.
I was like, bruh. He was cutting the vegetables.
Cut his finger. And, oh man.
If you're watching this, I'm sorry, man.
But Valley Vista was fun. Really enjoyed it.
So what would you say to the future teachers, professors, instructors that are watching?
I would say education is super important. but the most important thing is being there for like the kids, because a lot of the times, especially for me, like outside of Valley Vista, I taught at all Title I schools, so like a certain percentage of kids were on like free and reduced lunch, and for me, like a good vote of confidence to like the teachers out there would be to like just be there for the kids, because a lot of the times these kids have tough home lives, they have tough upbringings, mom and dad aren't doing good, they're not there, they're raised by their grandparents, they might be in foster care, but during those 8 hours that they have within the confines of that school, you can make it to where they feel safe, to where they feel loved, where they feel important, where they feel like somebody cares. So I think that if you're going into the teaching profession, that just make sure that you go in with the mindset of, I'm going to help each kid, no matter how tough they are, no matter how angry they may be at the world, no matter how crazy or goofy they are, I'm gonna try and make sure that whenever they're in at least the four walls of my classroom, that they know that somebody loves them, somebody cares for them, somebody thinks that they're great, and they push them to be the best they can be. So just do that for your kids and you'll be good.
We gotta make sure that they're safe, like you said.
Yeah,
we gotta make sure they're
100%.
safe. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it's really that you were born with when it comes to apprehending your students or connecting with them, but it's definitely something that you have, which is great. You know, teachers do that.
You know, I appreciate that. You know, I think that it was just something that I had growing up. I had a wonderful high school teacher named Miss Marcotte, and she was my teacher from 9th grade all the way up until 12th grade. I had her for English, freshman English, and then I had her as my journalism teacher for 3 years.
Wow.
And she was just like tremendous. She was the best. And the way that she connected with students was something that I brought into how I like literally base my teaching strategies and my teaching style off of was her. So if you're watching this, I love you. And you changed my life and so many other kids' lives.
Which is great to hear. You
Yeah.
know, hearing your students say how well of a teacher you are, it makes you thrive. I feel like, you know, make you feel better.
Yeah, 100%. And just keeping in touch with like kids that I've had, like you, just seeing like you doing great things and you progressing in life and have such big aspirations and want to just be the best that you could be. Me having a little small touch in there, I'm like, okay, I helped them out a little bit, you know, and so that makes me proud. Just seeing everybody that I've taught doing well gives me a little.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that reminds me of you, you know. When I say Kiki, I'll tell you, bro, them Drake songs, man.
The Drake
they
songs,
hit every time.
always.
I'm like, man, Mr.Roy, only teacher that I know that
we
would put
were
music.
rocking, man. We did.
We had to put the clean version though.
We did it because I got in trouble. I remember Valley Vista was the first place where I like got in trouble for like what I'd play. So like
Really?
I remember there was like this one girl.
She snitched.
Yeah, she snitched on me for like playing an unedited version, and she's like this really small girl, and her mom like called the front office, and I got called in to Miss Pericini's class, and like she's like, you can't be playing like unedited music, and you can't cuss. I was like, okay.
Maybe because they cuss. I don't remember you cussing that much though.
And then it was like, I was like, okay, you know. And then, so I got in trouble for that. And then I remember one time, because I didn't understand any rules. Like, I was just some culinary kid. And I remember one time I played, like, Anthony Bourdain. And it was, like, a travel show. And it was, like, TV-14 or something. And he was, like, drinking and smoking in there. And, like, one of the evaluators for me sat in on that class. And I'm, like, playing this guy, like, taking sake bombs and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, crap. And then she came over. She's like, you probably shouldn't play that. And I'm like, okay, sorry.
Damn.
You know, so that's, like, Valley Vista, I learned, like, all my lessons. So that was one of the
Did you ever
things.
get really scared? You're like, oh, shit.
No, I think that, like, I think the scariest thing that's probably ever happened was at Valley Vista. We were at some event, and it was like later at night, and it was right at the stadiums across from like Valley Vista.
Surprise.
Yeah, at Surprise Stadium, and some kid, I forget his name, but we were packing up everything, and his finger got caught in like a lift or something, and it literally severed his finger, and his finger was hanging on by like a little vein. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, and he's like screaming, can you help me? And, oh my goodness. So we had to wrap his hand, and we ran to my car. And the biggest thing, like as a teacher, you're not supposed to have a kid in your car. Like you can't transport a kid from someplace to someplace.
Really?
And so I took the kid, fingers literally almost off his hand. I drive him from Surprise Stadium, which is just across the street. So I drive him from the stadium back to back to Valley Vista, and his dad picks him up. And then it's like this whole, like we were gonna get sued and all this stuff. And I was like, well, I was just a chaperone. Like I didn't really, But that was probably the scariest incident, that like, and then I had a kid at one of the high schools that I taught at. She had like low blood sugar one day and asked to go to the restroom, and she fell and hit her face on like the side of a countertop and split like her face from like the top of her hairline down to like the bridge of her nose.
I remember that.
And like folded open, and dude, it was.
Dude, you were there for just one semester.
It was wild. So, but yeah, there've been some scary instances. But
how did you manage to have that like in one semester?
Yeah, Valley Vista was interesting. But I like Valley Vista. They were good, except for whenever with you guys, I was like, okay, I'll come back. And then Sarah was like, hey, I'm going to be getting this job some other place. Like, we're going to move. And I'm like, oh, no.
Like Valley.
So I had already signed my contract. And I'm like, yeah, for the next year. And I was like, crap. Like, how do I go by telling them, like, I have to decline this contract? These people made me pay $2,500 to decline my contract.
Wow.
So I had to go to them. And at this point, like, I was just a teacher, and I was horrible at spending money. So I spent
you were making a lot of money for the age that you were.
Yeah, so, like, for me being 23, like, I was spending money like it was nobody's business.
40K, right?
And so I had, like, such little money, and so I had to, like, pay $2,500 to Dysart Unified School District to like take me out of my contract, which sucked.
Buyout.
Yeah, it was a buyout. It was a buyout. But yeah, that's that. I do. Dysart was always good. Valley Vista was. I enjoyed working there.
Remember, we were trying to get you to stay.
We
were willing to take culinary 304 if you stayed.
Yeah.
And then you were like, yeah, we'll stay. And then
I
ain't coming back. I was like, oh my god, like Kyrie Irving right now.
But I remember, I think you were the last person that I talked to before I left.
Yeah,
because you took a picture. Yeah, we took a picture.
I'm gonna put it up there. So people can see.
Yeah, man, but that's wild to think. That was like 5-6 years ago. So
I know.
Wild. And you're small. You were so small.
Still small, I guess.
you were little.
Was I that little?
Yeah.
I guess I had some character development. I probably was like 5'4".
I don't know. You were a little guy, but you were great. I remember we had some crazy kids in those classes though.
Yeah, I just remember I tried to help you as much as possible.
I remember there was a kid.
This shit is making sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble for that?
What?
For me staying late and helping you up?
No.
Because one of my teachers, I think she was trying to say, like, why you always like taking long? I was like,
oh,
my teacher.
No, I've gotten in trouble from other teachers, especially at the middle school that I was taught at. Yeah, the teachers think that like these kids, they're missing the first 10 minutes of my English class. I'm like, oh my goodness, come on.
In middle school, they probably take like the little pop
they're reading the outsiders. It's nothing big.
Come on, man.
But no, it was fun. Teaching's been really good to me.
Teaching's amazing. I like the fact that you thought. I mean.
Yeah.
No, so last subject would be how do you feel about the wages, the flat pay, the amount of the salary.
I think
underpaid, deserved right, or how much do you think?
I think that the biggest thing holding back teachers and education here in Arizona, because as we know, you can look at any statistic online, like we're in the lower percentile of education.
In Arizona?
Yeah. So, and I think the biggest thing is just funding. They're cutting taxes, which leads to lack of funding for education. And that lack of funding means a lack of contracts that they can give out, a lack of salary that they can pay. I think that a lot of teachers, if they're single, don't have any kids, maybe have a decent just little apartment, you know, they'll be able to survive and thrive
cool
a little
with
bit.
it,
You know,
you can go on vacation during summer.
yeah, you could probably go to Disneyland maybe once or twice a year, you know, do that. But like, if you have any kids or a husband, wife, whatever, you know, I think you might be struggling, you know, because a teacher's salary, like, it's all public knowledge. I think for me, I got paid like maybe 51,000 this past year.
Really?
Yeah, but like whenever you take into consideration that they take so much from your paychecks, they take like 10 or 20% put it in retirement. They take all these federal and state taxes, and then they take just all this other stuff, and you're like sitting there.
$40K.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck did I, like, I'm doing my taxes at the end, and I'm like, I didn't make this much, like, it's saying, like, gross.
Come on, man.
What's your gross? And I'm like, oh, it's nice, but then it's like,
Ain't nice.
after taxes, I'm like, oh.
The good thing is at least you got something with retirement.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. You know, retirement, and that's the one thing. Like, if you're a teacher and you do work those 30 years, which you're seeing less and less of right now with the way the teaching is. But if you work those 30 years, like, your pension's going to be decent. You're going to be able to have a nice retirement.
How does that work for them? Is it still like a 3-year highest average or something?
It's like, I think so. I think it's like they put all that money in retirement, and then they get that week, the bi-weekly or the monthly. But at the end of the day, like, you look at, with me wanting to get into business, like, I think the most important thing for me is, like, I want to have money to, like, provide a good lifestyle for myself, my future wife and kids. You know, also want to help out mom and dad, help out my grandparents. Things
No
like
kids
that.
yet, right?
No kids
Okay.
yet. No kids yet. My mother is on me all the time about getting her grandkids, but I'm not ready.
Gotta give it time, which
Yeah,
is good. You're not ready.
You know, and but other than that, like, I think education, I think it's a good pathway, but there needs to be some reconstruction of how funds are allocated to education, especially here in Arizona. I think because the kids deserve better. The kids deserve better. You know, teachers deserve better, and yeah, just as a whole, I think the funding just needs to be increased so that we can give these kids the quality education that they deserve.
Facilities are good, but we need to make sure the teachers are well provided. To be
Yeah,
honest.
teachers and the students, because at the end of the day, it comes down to, you know, taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
And without proper funding, these kids are getting teacher after teacher. Some teachers are leaving during the middle of the year, not coming back next year. So it's just a whole bunch of different stuff.
I can't stop thinking about how much our first teacher didn't make that much, and we were putting them through hell.
Oh, man.
So there, it's like,
I remember they told me, like, they were like, yeah, these kids are throwing knives at each other, like, they've done this, that, and the third. I'm like, what? But yeah,
I don't even know. I mean, I probably was part of it. I was young. I think character development has helped me a lot, but still looking back, I'm just like, man,
no, I think
so much in that class.
No, you
But
got
Jeremiah was in there.
Jeremiah was in there. I remember we had a lot of. There was some kid. There was some kid named Junior. He was like a Hispanic kid.
But he didn't talk that much.
He didn't talk. He sat right next to me though.
Sat right,
He sat right next to me and didn't talk. But he was cool.
Yeah, you were trying to make conversation. Just been,
Yeah. But I think I have. Hold on. Let me check this real quick, and I'll send you this. I think I have like Google Photos. Let me see if I have any from back in the day.
That'd be sick. Having a picture from our class.
Let me see.
It's looking like it's been 6 years.
2018. Yeah, so here is. Yeah, here we go.
Dominic?
Yeah, this is Dominic.
Who's that guy? I don't remember.
I don't know him. But yeah.
Is that our class? Okay, where am I?
I don't
This
know
is a
where you
different
are.
class.
I think that might have been a different class.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
like, you guys were
Crazy.
rocking, man. You guys were rocking. Me and that one teacher.
Okay, she was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Damn,
she
look
was
at
cool.
you.
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
a
that
little
pink.
Was it ceviche that you brought me?
Nah, that's Mexican.
Oh, Mexican ceviche. There's that big difference between it, you know. But yeah, man, I remember And it was so funny because I got to Valley Vista, and then like maybe like a month after, that big Red for Ed thing happened. You remember?
Okay, I remember that, but I don't.
And like,
somebody died, no?
No, all the teachers like left. Oh, that was like the big thing. Like,
it was a protest, right?
Yeah, the protest. So here's like.
Did you partake on it?
Yeah. Me and Sarah were all out there.
So we didn't have class for a while, right?
Yeah, for like 2 or 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, you remember that?
I don't remember not having class for 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe it was during spring break, no? Maybe.
I don't know.
I had to do something on spring break because 2 to 3 weeks, I think that's a lot of time.
Yeah, man, but like, I look at these photos and like I laugh because I think maybe this was this your class?
Dude, why they look so young? But that is their class, I think. Is it? I mean, who's in the back?
I don't know.
Dude, they look so young. I'm not sure if that's in our class. I don't think it's our class, but I do remember this guy in school.
But yeah, like
Anthony.
I look back on those photos and I'm like, holy smokes.
That was Yellow's mom.
Yeah, they were.
Freshman, 14 years.
Here's my first day outfit. There it is. That was me before my first day. I'll send it to you so you can plug it in.
Yeah, I'm gonna put.
But
dang.
yeah, that was, and here was first day at Valley Vista.
Taking a test. Making
Yeah,
people take a
taking a
test.
golly.
Crazy.
That was horrible.
Yeah, especially because you just gotta sit there and tell people, hey, but it's Mr.Roy.
You got a test today.
I got a test today. I want to hear about what's going on with the other. Oh my god. I remember. You see.
It was crazy.
Jeez.
And then I opened up and I was like, all right, let's have fun. That'll be good.
Man, we ain't studying nothing. She ain't tell us shit, man. Oh well, that's what y'all gotta do.
Yeah,
test.
Here's your test. And then y'all were like, yo, she ain't teaching nothing. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. You know.
I didn't know a lot of English. I didn't know the tools. I remember. I think I passed your class with a C or a B. I didn't know the tools.
Yeah, because you're an English learner.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't take any of those classes.
You didn't take any EL classes.
I was like, nah, I gotta learn. I gotta thug it out.
Thug it out.
Yeah.
You went.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, bro. And I think I did all right.
There you go. Yeah, you're doing perfect.
Because I think those classes I saw more of a disadvantage because sometimes they don't even teach. They're just wrong. So I told myself, I was like, nah. I think I have enough English to get in there and try my best. And if I don't understand the question, I say, yeah.
I remember that you played soccer.
Yeah.
For Valley.
So we still, yep.
You played soccer. But then we had like the girls basketball team was
God,
crazy.
They won last year again.
They're so good.
They keep winning. They won 4 years in a row.
That's so wild.
I
and
know.
then who was the big...
Taylor Chavez was the
Taylor
girl.
Chavez was dope when I was
and Miss Matekas was the coach.
Matekas. Bro, she was
my first teacher when I got there, actually.
She scared the crap out of me. I would be at like the copy machine. She
was like your height, bro. She was like your height. She's just tall.
Yeah. She was cool though.
The first day of high school, because I went to Liberty, and I got transferred to Valley. So my first day of school, she was my teacher, Miss Matekas. She was being a sub for biology. I know English.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, what's your name? I go, yeah. Pero. Scary. I was like, oh, I don't want to be part of this class. I was like, dude.
Yeah.
But
Matekas, she was cool.
It was just cool. It was just pretty nice.
She's like 6'4" or something. I'm like,
I know.
Scared me.
Dude, that girl was scary. But
yeah, Taylor Chavez she was really good.
She won them. And then Marissa, and then from Michaela, and
all those
Jenna.
girls.
They keep winning. Last year, just won again. I'm not sure if they're going to win next year, but you never know. They always keep winning.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They bring prospects. That's something that soccer we don't do. You know, we don't.
Yeah,
really
they bring kids.
Yeah, they
like
do.
Kids want to go there.
Yeah,
it's like
soccer. They're like, yeah.
When I taught at Mountain Point High School over in Ahwatukee, and they have like such great football facilities now, and like their coaching staff's like former NFL players.
Really?
So like, dude, I was talking with.
Do they pay good for coaching?
I don't know. Because like I was a wrestling coach,
yeah.
So it was like.
Did you get like a 1K or 2K per season?
No, I think for my season I got like an extra 4,500.
That's
so
good.
Like, yeah, so they put it in with like your every 2 weeks, like you get like an increase of like 200 to 300.
So you just be like, ooh.
Yeah, so I get that and I'd be like, okay, sweet. But yeah, like they have like these ex-NFL football players, and I was talking with the athletic director, and they're like, yeah, we got like 60-something transfers for football, and their team's like stacked this year. They got the number, they got a 4-star ranked running back named Christian Clark, who's like been recruited by like Alabama, Georgia.
Will Kenyon had a 4-star last year, I think.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened with it. He had a 4-star.
You got all these kids from out here. Arizona's a hotbed right now.
It's increasing.
They're getting really good.
I'll make sure the video keeps going. That's about leave. Hello. We're doing. Hey. Excuse me. Hey. We're doing a podcast right now. I'm with my teacher, Mr.Roy. What's it called? Say hi to the. I mean, you can't say hi, but we're gonna say you're saying hi, okay? Alright, I love you. I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Who's that?
It's my friend Riley. She's supposed to come. She's supposed to come record, I think, but I forgot. I called her, but I guess she just woke up.
Gotcha.
But now, last thing I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about them Celtics. My guy, it was worth it. I think the comeback was pretty nice, I must say.
You know, we were down 3-0. My grandfather he's from Massachusetts, so is my mom and my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I was always, Celtics, Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox. That was literally my life. That's who I rooted for. Was never a Carolina Panther fan or a Hornets fan, but it was like I grew up with them, and so being a lifetime Celtics fan, they got off that 3-0, and I'm like, oh my goodness, can we win one? And I'm like, then we won the one, and then I'm like, my grandpa calls me, okay, well we broke that curse. We're not going to be 0-150 of the people that go down 3-0. So then we win the second one. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So then the third one came, and I remember I was driving to Jimmy John's, okay? I was in my car. I have
the game winner?
I have the game pulled up. I'm at a red light. There's 3 seconds left. I'm like, oh my God,
that's what happened.
we messed up. I'm like, Al Horford, you suck.
I sent him to China.
I'm like, go play with Dwight Howard in Taiwan or something, And I remember I was sitting at a red light, and I'm like, okay, here we go. They throw it in. Marcus Smart gets it, and I'm like, oh God, he's gonna miss this jumper. I know he is. And he misses the jumper, and then my boy just comes behind and lays it up, and I'm like, he did it, Derek White. You did it, Derek. And my grandpa calls me, did you see that? And I'm like, at this red light screaming, let's effing go, So I was so hyped, and then game 7 came, and I was like, ooh, when I turned the game off at halftime, I was like, we're down by 13, I'm gonna...
No, but the third quarter, it was yours. It was yours to take, it just missed shots, but because Manuel was missing everything.
Yeah, I think the game's changed so much with NBA, and you'll hear it from the older generation. We used to be more physical, yes, you did, but you're also bigger, burly guys. But with the game now, you can't not make threes. You can't. You
9 out of 42.
You gotta make threes. You have to, because it's I don't care if you're the best mid-range jump shot guy. You could be Kawhi Leonard. You could be whoever. Good mid-range. You could be Kobe Bryant, for God's sakes. Okay, but if you have a person like Steph Curry that hits 3 after 3, Klay Thompson, you got Ray Allen. Who else? Duncan Robinson, Kyle Korver, guys that just shoot those threes for a living. They make money shooting threes.
But you have those players.
We do, but they couldn't make it. They couldn't. And so if you can't hit those threes, you can't rely on just getting the twos, because for 2 threes, you got to make 3 twos, to even stay tied.
It's just hard.
So it was tough, but seeing them lose, I was obviously upset. But my brother lives in Miami. My brother-in-law lives in Miami. Oh man, my brother is a Heat's season ticket holder, but
not the NBA final.
Not the NBA final ticket holder, but no. So I'll probably be going for Miami.
Who you got winning?
I got Denver winning though. Probably in 6.
I say Heat in 6.
You Heat in 6? Okay.
I think Butler goes off, but
I hope Jimmy does. I would love to see Jimmy win his first ring. I would,
Yeah, definitely.
especially with a
He's
playing
33
team.
already, you know.
With a play-in team, you
Yeah.
know, winning it with a play-in team.
A documentary about this.
That'd be sweet.
30 for 30.
But like, I think that the Joker has it. I think he does. He's so good.
It truly all depends on Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. I don't think it depends on
Yeah.
the others.
I saw a funny video the other day. It said Jokic plays like he is wearing like slip-on sandals, and he's like throwing stuff above his head. The dude's a baller though. He's so good.
I thought NJ Davis would stop him.
I thought that if Anthony Davis was on, that he could stop him, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way.
Dude, I think Bam might have can though. People are like telling him
Big
no.
Bam.
Yeah, but
Bam's a savage. I think that
Yes,
anybody in the NBA is a great basketball player, you know. And I think it's just like how I look at like MMA fights. Like any given day, I don't care if it's like the worst guy against the any punch can land.
Yeah.
Like you put Bam in there against Jokic, any given day they could trade back and forth. You know.
It's just Bam has been playing horrible.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the reasons why they even went to 7.
So, you know, I think that they're just gonna have to stay on the Nuggets and
They're gonna get it done.
and
Now that you're talking about being sports management and
Mhm.
helping, you have to realize I don't know if the Celtics can afford 2 supermax contracts, and you know.
yeah, so that's the biggest thing right now. I think
I
that,
don't think you can pay someone 66 mil for being close to a second option, even though it's 1A 1B. You know your salary cap only goes to 140 now.
yeah,
You got one player you're gonna pay close to 70, and you got other player that you're gonna be close to paying 66. You can't afford that.
Who
if
do
you
I
have a
take?
guy. Exactly. And the thing about it is, I don't obviously just get your money, but I feel like if you want to win, you have to understand that contract is not gonna help you.
yeah,
I get the point that you know you come from nowhere, so seeing big money is something that you want.
yeah,
You know, and somebody like that had money, say Tom Brady, somebody that had money that knew something,
Yeah.
they know not to take that much money. But on this situation, as a player and obviously as part of a winner, what do you go for? If you're Jaylen Brown, what do you do?
If I'm Jaylen Brown and I know that I'm the second pick, I know that
Second option.
yeah,
Right?
second option. Jason Tatum, obviously, give him Supermax because he's now officially Boston's boy.
Right.
He is. He's like David Ortiz. He's like Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's up there.
You know, he's like IT, but we know what happened with IT.
Exactly.
But if I'm Jaylen Brown and I'm like, okay, I'm second option, I don't know, do you stay with the Celtics and take less? Or do you go to another spot and get your big contract? But where does he fit in the NBA is the biggest question.
He's a shooting guard that fits as a second option that needs to learn how to be a second option.
So that's the biggest thing. You gotta find like who is he gonna play well with.
A shooter and a point guard.
Yeah, so he plus his
He's
defense.
not ball
He has to
handling.
get his defense up too.
There's no ball handling, so it's scary because the Celtics is such a dramatic thing. You know, one day Jason Tatum plays good, oh my god, like I can't believe people think he's bad.
Yeah.
Another day he plays bad, you got Jaylen Brown as a superstar. I always believe Jaylen Brown.
The fans are very, very
and it's
harsh.
just not
in
exactly.
Boston.
It's just not fans only. The NBA total globally.
Yeah,
We all
100%.
believe. You know, I truly believe it's 1A 1B.
Yeah.
I truly believe, and I hope it is that way. And you have, to be honest, you guys have the best team. You guys have the biggest chance to win. If you guys didn't go 0-3, I think
Yeah.
you guys go to the finals.
I think so as well.
I think Marcus Smart needs to be gone. You need a better point guard that can get you the spots. If you can trade for Chris Paul for 1 season, I'll take it.
Oh, old CP3.
For 1 season, that's it.
I think that Marcus Smart is a tremendous player. I think he's done very well for Boston.
It's a good
I
contract,
love
though.
seeing him. Yeah, his contract's very good.
It's like, what, 15?
Yeah, so it's like he's won like 2
3 years left.
of those awards, like the
Defensive player of the
Yeah.
year, and then he got
the not the toughness, but it's like some weird scrappy award or something. But I think that what he brings to the Celtics is
Harsh to
tenacity. He brings that drive and that will to win. But I think whenever you break it down, we got to have somebody that can, excuse me.
Yeah. You need somebody that can play me.
Yeah, somebody that can distribute. Somebody that like CP3. Like
I thought Brogdon was gonna be that guy.
I thought so as well.
Coming off the bench. I don't
Then we
know
got
if
that.
Yeah.
You know, we got what's his name? He's some kid from. He played for
Pritchard?
Alabama.
No, Pritchard.
Do you have Peyton Pritchard? But something. I forget his name. He has big poofy hair. He played for Alabama. But he's in the G League on that 2-way contract.
It's not enough to put him on start line.
Yeah, can't put him in. So I mean, what do we do with Smart? Do we trade him away? Could.
You could play him shooting guard.
Could play him shooting guard.
But then again, you would have to teach Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum to play big because they'd have to. One of them has to be. But I think Jason Tatum can play power forward. He's big.
Yeah,
People
he's a
talk
big
about
guy.
him being talking about.
That's what they.
I heard someone talk about it. I don't know who it was.
I think it was like Paul George or somebody. It was
Yeah,
on a
on the
podcast. They said
podcast.
when you see
Carl Anthony Towns. I
yeah,
think.
when you see him in real life, like he's huge.
He's like 6'9". He
Yeah.
looks small because of his legs because he wears
Yeah.
short shorts. But
Yeah,
so
so
man
I
is
mean,
huge. You can
if
see
you
it.
if you put him, if you put some more meat on him, put some more meat on him, you throw him in there.
It might
power
affect
forward.
him, of course, but
Could.
him playing power forward would be a challenge.
Yeah,
Him guarding Giannis, I can see it, but
yeah.
him guarding like player, I don't know, like a big Zion Williamson.
Ooh, golly, that's
You
a
know?
big fella.
Yeah, so it's
Big
it's
dude.
hard. I mean, you guys have line court, which is good.
Yeah. So
You guys have,
the NBA is just wild right now. You know, you got like all the you got the injury bug. Like one of my favorite players to like watch was like Lonzo Ball, and now they're saying like he might not even play again.
No,
So like that's like
Sad.
crazy, and then you
I
got
always like them.
then Zion's like out for he gets injured all the
And
time.
you got John Moran.
Oh, John Moran, Mr. Glock in my Rari.
He's in trouble. He's not in
Goodness
trouble.
gracious, my man's crazy.
I hope he gets back to.
I do. I hope that he. What's crazy is my fiance's cousin. She went to college with him at
Like
Murray
he-
State.
Like state.
Yeah, with John Morant. So they went to college together, and she said that like he was a cool guy and stuff like that. Like they never interacted, but like she'd see him around. Like he was always going to class, things
He's
like
like an
that.
insane kid.
You know, and then you put him in Memphis, and
That's what happened when you go to Memphis,
you
man.
know, he started listening. He
Tattoos
started
and
listening
young boy.
to young Dolph and Moneybag Yo, and he started holding Glocks. So that's a little interesting. But you know, I hope that if you watch him, like he's one
Chilling guy. He's smart.
he's crazy.
Not everybody.
That
goes-
dude just goes up on people. He just
It's just crazy.
he doesn't care what
It
it
can
is.
affect you, but
Yeah.
either way,
It
it's,
might shorten his career a little bit, but he's entertaining to watch, and I hope that he gets his act together, and I hope that he gets back to his.
kind of sad that I'm not seeing him and Dylan Brooks together anymore.
Oh goodness, Dylan Brooks.
Hey, him with the Celtics would be good.
Yeah,
If he gets his shot right.
they're like blackballing Dylan Brooks, the Memphis Grizzlies. They're like, you ain't never coming back. I'm like,
Yeah, I
oh
was
my
crazy.
goodness.
I was like, damn,
Like,
man.
hey, he ain't do that bad. man.
I mean, he did talk to the GOAT.
He did like good during the regular season.
He
Like
did good.
playoffs, he was a little.
Jeez.
Once he said that
Yeah.
stuff to LeBron, it was.
I don't know. I mean, even
So once you
even
drop
with John
40,
Moran,
he hit 20 and 20 that one game. I said, oh man.
I don't think they were gonna beat the Lakers either way. I don't even know how Lakers really didn't even get one against the Nuggets. I mean, I thought Jokic was gonna at least go back and forth with Davis, but after
Yeah.
that first game,
Yeah, it was. I knew. I watched that. I said, ooh, this might be a sweeperoonie right here. And
and LeBron came out hard the fourth
Yeah,
game, and
he did.
It wasn't even enough.
Braun, the man.
Man,
Gotta love Braun.
I love LeBron. Well, that was it for today's episode. It was amazing. I don't even know how long it lasted.
Me either.
An hour, but dude, we got to cover everything I wanted to cover. First of all, MMA. We
Yeah.
talked about your school and how it goes with teaching.
Yep.
Teaching fundings, and obviously how much it should be paid, probably if they're underpaid or whatever, right? And then we finally touched on the Celtics and the NBA Finals. It's gonna be great. His pick, he got the Knights in 6. I got the Heat in 6. We'll be back to it, but thank you for watching this episode. It was amazing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roy,
Very nice to see you again.
have a good one.
Peace.
Oh man, that was great.
Heck yeah, that was awesome.
It was.